Hey there, welcome into another exciting episode of A for Effort. I'm your host, Matt, and as always, we start off giving thanks to our unofficial sponsor of the podcast, AMC A-List. $19.95 a month gets you 3 movies a week at local AMC theaters in your area. Check AMC.com for theater listings and offer availability. To continue our Endgame breakdown, today is my spoiler-filled top 5 moments of the movie. And like I said, spoiler-filled, spoilers. If you have not seen this movie, what are you waiting for? Go out and see it. Here are my top 5 moments of this absolutely incredible movie. Now, it's hard for me to choose 5 moments that really dominate this. So I went with 5 plot points that I feel like really dominate this movie and really sell it and bring it home to where it needs to be. This movie contains lots of time travel. And with that comes some moments for callbacks and revisiting certain points throughout our 21 movie adventure prior to this. So one of the things I love the most about this movie at number 5 is the future. What holds for the future of this franchise? Thor is with the Guardians at the end of the movie. I hope to goodness that they continue that thread and that's just not a wink and a nod at the end, that he will be in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Sam Wilson becomes Captain America. Loki escaped via the Tesseract in 2012. Spider-Man Far From Home. Black Panther. Doctor Strange, they all get their moments to shine, and you realize the future is still bright. Even though we're losing our main players, we're still going to have a bright future ahead of us. Number 4, the callbacks. Like I said, lots of time travel, so there's some great callback moments. Captain America Winter Soldier, call back to the elevator scene. Cap, when he fights himself, he calls back to I can do this all day. Absolutely great. There's a moment at the end with Cap and Bucky where he says, don't go doing anything stupid. And Bucky replies with, how could I do anything stupid? You're taking all the stupid with you. That's what Steve said to Bucky before he left for war, the first go around in the first Avenger. There's a callback to the cheeseburgers that Iron Man wanted at the beginning of Iron Man 1. More on that later. Same with I Am Iron Man. Great callback. There's callbacks to Thor the Dark World. Callbacks to Avengers 1. Budapest. Great callback between Black Widow and Hawkeye. Callbacks to Guardians 1 with Come and Get Your Love. I mean, there's just so many moments. So many great callback moments. There's a moment where we call back to when Cap almost lifted Mjolnir. And in fact, he lifts Mjolnir in this movie. What an amazing callback that was to something that had already happened. Like I said, the callbacks, the fan service, absolutely outstanding. Number 4 on the list. Number 3, reunions. At multiple points in this movie, we get some great reunions with characters that you never thought you'd get to see again. One being the Ancient One, who has a moment with the Hulk. It's not so much a reunion as it is just a great moment that we get to share with the Ancient One, who we hadn't seen since Doctor Strange. But the ones that are really super impactful are Tony and his dad and Thor and his mom. It was such a great moment because in Civil War, Tony says, you know, if I could go back now, I'd love to say some things to my dad that I never got the chance to say. And so there's a great moment where they go back, time travel, to the 1970s. And I love this scene in particular because it's so much. Because they go back to where Captain America was made in New Jersey. And you have, just in this one scene, Peggy Carter, Hank Pym, Howard Stark. All throughout, littered throughout the camp, and we eventually see them all. And it was great. The reunion between Tony and his dad, it wasn't like one of those moments where like he outright tells him or, you know, tries to say I love you or anything like that. It's such a subtle thing. Like Howard talks about, I don't know how to do this because I've never been a dad before and I'm so self-centered and selfish, and it's so mirrored on Tony, and it's just such a beautiful scene. And he hugs him at the end and says everything's going to be all right. Just everything's going to be all right. Your son will know you love him. And it's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. In the interim time, the same exact time, Steve gets trapped in the bunker and ends up in Peggy's office and sees Peggy, and for the first time in a long time, and you just feel that tension of like, he wants to go see her so bad. We got to go. And then in A Return to Glory, Thor the Dark World gets this really great jump off where our protagonist, Thor, who has now become overweight, who is now what I deemed unworthy, basically, he finds himself unworthy, gets a chance to speak to his mother, who he hasn't seen since Thor the Dark World because she passed away. And they have this great exchange, and she tells him to just be who he wants to be. Stop trying to be who everyone thinks he should be, but just be who you want to be. And what a great moment it was. It was great to see Rene Russo playing Frigga. It was so great. Absolutely wonderful moment. I loved the reunions we got, the moments with parents that we got. You know, it was absolutely incredible. Number 2, the deaths in the movie, because there are 2, and they're so super impactful. First one being Black Widow. Now, I will say I've heard from multiple people that this moment is played up for laughs. I don't agree at all. So Marvel did a great thing where even though you know it's coming and you should know it's coming because it happened in Infinity War, they kind of do enough around it where you kind of forget that it has to happen. Basically, Black Widow and Hawkeye are the ones going to Vormir. And if you've seen Infinity War, you know that on Vormir, you have to trade a soul for a soul to get the Soul Stone. So they go, they find out that they have to trade a soul, and then they have this moment where they literally fight over who's going to be the one to go over the edge. And it's not meant for laughs. It's played up for laughs to a crowd who thinks it's played up for laughs. But it's more of an emotional moment of like, Hawkeye thinks he should be the one because he has tons of red in his ledger. And all Black Widow's ever cared about since the first time we met her is getting the red out of her ledger. And it's just a great moment where she ends up winning the fight. They both go over the edge. She hooks Hawkeye by a hook to the side of the cliff, tells him, you just gotta let me go because this is what I've wanted. I want to protect my family. And guess who's my family? It's you. It's you. It's Steve. It's Tony. It's Bruce. I need to go. I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do it. And it's just a brilliant moment. And hats off to Scarlett Johansson. Like I said, it's played up for laughs to a bunch of people. People think it's funny, but it's not. It was so impactful. It was so brilliant. She got to go out a hero. And that's all she's ever wanted. And it was perfect for the character of Black Widow. I thought it was great. I thought it was so impactful. I really, really, really loved it. And then the ultimate death, the ultimate sacrifice is Tony. In the climactic final battle, it's Tony against Thanos. And at this point, Doctor Strange has basically told him this is the moment. This is the one. You have to do it. You have to be the one to make the sacrifice. And they're fighting, and Tony gets the stones. And it's a great moment where Thanos thinks he's ready to snap away half the existence again, and he says, I am inevitable. And it turns, and Iron Man's got the gauntlet, it's got the power, it's surging through him, and he says, and I am Iron Man. And he snaps, boom, done. And he's catatonic, and he's dying, and it's just the next 20 minutes is just the hardest thing you've ever seen in your life, because it goes from Tony's death scene with Spider-Man and Rhodey and Pepper, and then it turns into his funeral where they're all there. And they do this great callback again, another callback where they call back to when Pepper gave him the first reactor that says proof that Tony Stark has a heart. That just like eats at your heartstrings. And then there's a moment where early in the movie where his daughter tells him that she loves him 3,000, and he says it back to her in a video, and you're just like, friggin' A, man, like what a moment. And then to the cheeseburgers, like it's a moment that gets me every time I've seen it. It's Jon Favreau who had the opportunity to direct Iron Man 1 and 2 and plays Happy Hogan, and he's sitting there on the bench with Morgan Stark, Tony's little daughter, and he says, what can I get for you? You need anything? She said, like a cheeseburger. And it just gets me every time because you see the emotion in Favreau, and he says, your dad loved cheeseburgers too. I'll get you all the cheeseburgers you want. And it was just a beautiful moment. And Tony's death was so impactful. You go back and watch these other movies, he was so self-centered and all about himself. And there's a great line in Avengers where he says, oh yeah, you're not the guy that lay down on the wire and take one for the team. And Iron Man says, no, I'd rather cut the wire and see what happens. And this is the moment. He laid down on the wire for the rest of the world. And it was a beautiful, poetic ending to Tony Stark. And my favorite moment, my number one moment in Avengers Endgame, it's poetically known as Portals on the soundtrack. And the song you heard at the beginning is part of that. And it's this beautiful moment where Cap's defeated. Cap is defeated. Thanos has beaten the crap out of him. His shield's broken. He tightens the strap on the shield, stands up, and he's all alone. And Thanos tells him this is going to be personal, and I'm going to destroy Earth, and I'm going to make you suffer. And it's Thanos' army, thousands deep. And all you hear over the intercom is Sam Wilson. He says, Cap, you there? On your left. And portals all around him start to open. And it's everybody. Every Marvel character that's still alive, every minuscule character that's ever been in the movies, the Ravengers, all the sorcerers from Doctor Strange, all the Asgardians, I mean, all the Wakandans, Howard the Duck, all the main players, Valkyrie, Korg, Meek, Ant-Man, Wasp. I could go on for days. Sam Wilson, Bucky Barnes, Groot, Rocket, all the Guardians, everybody. And he turns to camera while this climactic, beautiful music is playing, and he calls for Mjolnir, and he grabs Mjolnir, and he just shouts, Avengers Assemble, for the first and only time. And it was just absolutely friggin' brilliant. What a moment. What a movie, really. I mean, everything I ever could have wanted in a movie. In my last review, I rated it A+ 3000. And now you know why. There's a great moment with the word 3000, and 3000 will play on and it'll live on, because these movies are just epic in every sense of the word. What do you think? What is your favorite moment from the movie? I have so many, and these are just a few. I have been your host, Matt. Check out A for Effort on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever podcasting and videos are found. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Come back to us next time and we will have another quality movie review.